Hi y'all, thanks for joining me today. Candace Gillespie here from CANDACE'S This is Fun Friday. Today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable box. It's a taller box. It measures 6 inches by 3 by 3. Wait, 3 inches wide, 3 inches long, and 6 inches tall. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make that bow too. It's all out of paper. I have the Nordic Noel Designer Series paper stack. Well, it's not a paper stack, but it's a pack of paper. And I'm taking the 12 by 12 and I am cutting this. I'm cutting one at 5 by 7, one at 12 by 10, and one at 2 by 6. And I will show you what to do with them. Now you'll take the 5 by 7 piece and you'll score it at 2 inches on 3 of the 4 sides. Fold those and put that aside. We'll work with that later. And then you'll take the 12 by 10 piece and along that 12 inch you'll score it at 3, 6, and 9. You'll rotate it, and along the 10 inch side you'll score it at 1 and 7. And then the little 2 by 6 piece you'll just score it length in half along the length at 1 inch. And then, so here is the 12 by 10. I am folding all of the score lines. And I played this in regular speed just because there's a lot of little techniques that I wanted you to see, where sometimes when it's sped up, you don't get to see all that stuff. So bear with me. I know it's going to roll kind of slow. Okay, here's one of those such techniques. Here I'm just using my paper trimmer to cut. I am cutting along that 1 inch piece that's scored along the 12 inch side, and I'm cutting it so that I have just one rectangle left. And I used my paper trimmer to cut nice straight lines. So you see here I have, this is going to be at the top. And then I'm taking, also lining up the 3, 6, and 9, and I am cutting that to the first score line, which would, anyway, I don't want to confuse you. So I hope that makes sense, cutting those 3 to the first score line. This is going to be the bottom flaps of our box. So you don't want to score all the way, you just want to score, or cut all the way, you just want to cut to the first score line. And you can definitely use scissors if you're more comfortable with that. My son was on my lap and he has not been feeling well, so I just needed to jam through this. Here is that 2 by 6 piece, and it's scored in half along the length there. And we needed our paper to be actually 12 and a half or 13, whatever. Needed to be longer than 12 inches. So I just am using this extra piece to be that extra length I needed. Excuse me. I don't know why at least once during a video lately I have to sneeze. I'm sorry about that. Okay, used my fast fuse and loaded that up with sticky goods, and I am adhering that to that sheet there on a side that I am going to just connect. Now here you notice it's kind of white because I glued it together and I had to tear it apart. Now measure, I am lining it up at the 1.5 mark up at the top, and I am cutting straight to the first score line. So you'll notice here when I pick it up that I scored it I didn't score it quite long enough. So here I'm taking my paper snips and I'm cutting down that first score line to about approximately 1.5 inches, and I'm going to cut horizontally to meet up with that piece. Now this is going to be the front of our box, and it'll all come together in a few seconds here. So now I'm going to reapply glue to this poor little strip here. And that was the result of using that awesome fast fuse. That stuff, you don't have any time to play with it. It sticks, and it sticks well. Okay, so I'm just gluing that long rectangle there. This is that 6 by 2 inch piece that we kind of stuck on there. And that's acting as our little, I was going to say hinge, but it's not a hinge. But anyway, I'm using it as a connector piece. And then I'm closing the box up. So I brought the other side in and I stuck it down, making sure everything's all nice and lined up. Okay, now it kind of looks something like this. See how that is going to be the front? Now we're going to make some cuts here. I'm going to bring in my ruler and I am going to measure from that top corner down to where the paper is cut down there on the right there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just make a line and then we're going to use that line as a guide to cut. If I didn't have my little non-slick surface paper down, I would have just sliced it with the craft blade. But not everyone has a craft blade, so it's okay to show you how it's done, huh? Okay, so now we have the front and the two sides. Well, just about anyway. Okay. Now it's going to look somewhat like this. This tab here is what we're going to glue the lid onto. Before we work on the lid though, let's close it up. I'm just gluing all these tabs down together. This is the final tab here. Glue it down. Smooth it out. And it's time to work on the lid. So go ahead and set your nice little box aside here. And then grab that 5 by 7 inch piece and fold on those score lines. So I guess I'm looking for it or something, huh? Okay, folding on those score lines. Remember, there should only be 3 score lines on this. And then I'm using my paper snips to snip up on the side that has the horizontal score line. So I'm just snipping up to that horizontal score line. And then I'm putting glue to the 2 squares, one on the right here and then the one on the left. And then moving that flap forward and gluing those tabs to the reverse side of that front little flap. And that essentially is going to be the front of our box, of our lid. Okay, so bring in, this is how it's going to fit on there. So only it's going to be glued on to the inside like that. So then now I'm going to add some glue to this little tab on the outside of it. And then bring back the lid and line it up so that it matches that scored line where that flap folds, and then press it down, secure it on there. And that pretty much sums up our box that measures 3 by 3 by 6. So the thicker, this one is last year's Christmas paper. I loved it. This was my prototype and it was a little bit thicker and it turned out a little better. So the thicker the paper, the better your box is going to be. Now it's time for the bow. I'm cutting a 12 by 12 sheet of DSP. I'm cutting it down to 9 inches and I'm cutting out 4 9 by 1 inch strips, and then I'm cutting out 4 more that are approximately 5 inches but definitely by 1 inch. And then I'm just kind of using my bone folder to just curl it, and I want this red to be showing. Then I'm taking the 2 shorter ones, the 5 by 1s. You'll see in a second here after I'm done curling it. I'm going to just cut the little ribbon tails on it, the fishtail ribbon tail, on all 4 of them. So here are these 2. Bringing in the other 2. Just doing the same thing. Okay, then I'm going to bring back the box and I'm going to glue these onto the box. Now the ones here are a little bit long. I did shorten them to about 5 inches. It really depends on your flavor, your eye. If you like them a little longer, make them a little longer. If you like them a little shorter, or you don't like them at all, whatever you choose. Then I'm using fast fuse to adhere these, 2 on the left and 2 on the right, kind of at like a V on either side. So I did 1 on the right, 1 on the left, then I'm going to put this one on the right. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Just happened to be how I put them on there. So now see on the left there, there's that little V. And then on the right, there's that little V. And I did glue down any areas that didn't get enough fast fuse. So, okay, then just kind of adjusting this little box. Okay, now it's time to build the bow part. And you're going to take your 4 9 by 1 inch papers that have already been curled, and you're going to apply, or I applied fast fuse to the center of it, a couple strips of the fast fuse. And I'm bringing each end to meet in the center and sticking it down to that fast fuse. And then I'm going to set it aside and add a little bit of adhesive to the middle, because the next one I'm going to put on top of that perpendicular. So I'm adding my fast fuse to the center, meeting those 2 ends in the center, and then gluing them on top of each other, crisscrossing. So now I have the 4 layered on here. And I'm bringing up the bow ends to kind of meet in the center. And then here's just some scrap 1 inch pieces that I had. And I'm using this to make the center a cute, like, ribbon would look really cute in the center, like a ribbon bow would look super cute. You can put a button or a couple buttons. You can put a flower in the center. This is just a quick remedy to remedy that center. So I'm making, if I had to guess and tell you a measurement, this was probably 4 or 3 inches by 1 inch. And then the second piece was half that, I would say, just smaller. And this one's going to fit inside of the bigger one. And here you can see I've stuck the bigger one into the center, and you can leave it like that. But I liked the way, and I tend to like the way it looks by adding a smaller one in the center too. So when that's all done, I pressed it down so that I knew all that glue was stuck, and it's okay, it's paper. I fluffed it back up, it's no problem. I added a good amount of Tombow to the top, and then I stuck my bow down, and I opened the box and made sure on either side of that top that I pressed that bow into the glue. So here they are side by side. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun Friday. I hope you get lots of uses out of these boxes that we're creating, especially in the holiday season that is approaching, and the birthdays that are always never ending. So also thanks for subscribing to my channel. That is just the most amazing experience ever. And then thanks for leaving a joyful comment and for liking this video. Feel free to stop by CANDACE'S also while you're at it. And you can see past projects. You can join my team there, which is super awesome. Really, really fun. And you can also shop my Stampin' Up! Store there, and you can shop my homemade goods. So I hope you guys have a super weekend, and we will see you for Cards Monday. Bye!